Welcome everybody. If you are still boarding back there in cars 3 and 4, scooch on all the way over to the right-hand side, fill in all those available seats. Watch these gates off to your left-hand side as well. They're going to start to come down here in just a few moments. Until then, hello. Great to see you all. My name's Sam. I'm going to be your guide today. How are we doing up here, car 1? Doing all right? Wonderful. Great to see you all. I can see you back there, cars 2, 3, and 4. Welcome everybody to the world-famous Universal Studio Tour. Well, off to our right-hand side, that's the beautiful San Fernando Valley. We're going to take you in there for the next 45 minutes as we explore our 400-acre movie studio. It's the largest, oldest studio in Hollywood, and since you came on a Saturday, there's not a ton of filming actively happening out there. We have a few different set closures, but one of the coolest sets on the lot are city sets just off to our right-hand side. Those are wide open today. We have some historic set pieces in there. There'll be some really cool photo opportunities today. But before we head out, I do want to know, any first-timers here? Anyone who has never been on the tour? We have a lot of hands. Welcome. Great to I see those hands back there as well. How about birthdays? Anybody celebrating themselves? Oh, we have a couple. Can I share your name? Everybody, it's Crystal's birthday. Say happy birthday, Crystal. Happy birthday, Crystal. And I saw a hand behind Crystal. Where was that? Can you shout out the name? Mimi. Everybody, happy birthday on 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Mimi. Crystal, Mimi, great to have you both on board. Is there another one? Yeah, there's another one. What's your name? Monica. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Monica. 3 birthdays. What an incredible Saturday. Great to have all 3 of you on board today. Well, folks, as for the studio, I will give you a look at one of the many shows we're set up for filming right now. Season 2 of The Paper.
We sell products made out of paper, toilet tissue, and local newspapers. That is in order of quality.
My name is Ned Sampson. I am your new editor-in-chief.
Have you read this paper?
Uh-huh. It sucks. But we are going to make it better. I hope it's not too disruptive to have me shake everything up.
Don't be so self-defecating.
God, not again.
That's right. We'll talk more about that one once we get out there. But folks, lucky for us, we just had the best driver in the business join us on board here. Everybody, please say hello to Lucas. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Lucas. He's going to be taking care of us over the next 45 minutes as we head into the studio. And it looks like we just got that double thumbs up to head on out of here. So do me a favor, everybody, as we get rolling here. Smile and wave goodbye to those beautiful people still standing in line. Goodbye. We'll see them out there. Now, folks, as we begin our journey away from the theme park, I have one more introduction to make. My co-host for today. You may recognize this guy from SNL or The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon. It's Jimmy.
Oh, hey there. You made it. Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure that you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide.
Sam.
And the greatest driver.
Lucas.
They're the best. I love them. Even though
Lucas.
owes me $5. I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
That's right. A few safety rules for your comfort today. First, if you need guest assistance, you have a medical emergency, drop something of value off the side of the tram, or any sound or video issues, please reach up, grab the red cord above your heads. I'll come back to assist you as soon as it is safe to do so. Otherwise, throughout the entire tour, please remain seated, keeping those arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. The studio is private property, so that any time you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull that cord and stay seated. Please no smoking of any kind and be prepared. Our tour will be featuring loud noises, sudden tram movements, fire effects, and many water effects. Have those cameras out for great photo ops. Keep an eye on them so they don't get wet. And finally, for your safety and the safety of those around you, please do not use selfie sticks while on board. That's it for the rules. Let's get started on the world-famous Universal Studio Tour. As we begin to make our way down the Universal movie timeline, these movie posters off to our right, just a few examples of the almost 8,000 films Universal has released, dating back over 110 years. But here in 2026, we still have some exciting stuff going on. Off to our right, bird's eye view in a Super Nintendo world, and off to our left, some of you may have seen walking in today, we got a roller coaster just about ready to open up this summer. Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. Very excited for this one. Now, also coming out this summer, Steven Spielberg's making another movie, folks. Disclosure Day in theaters June 12th, starring Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, and Colin Firth, returning to the alien genre that he does so well. But back to the movie studio. 400 acres worth of studio, right? As I mentioned, by far the largest in Hollywood. It's actually so large that Universal is considered to be its own city with its own zip code, and coming up off to our right-hand side, our very own fire station. Fire Station 51, where our incredible firefighters are on duty 24/7, keeping us safe in our little city, both in the park and on the studio that we're making our way into right now. And this studio, it's split up into two different sections. The front lot and the back lot. Now we're going to spend most of our time in the back lot today looking at some of our big historic sets, but we're going to start for the first few minutes in the front lot. And I mean it, just a few minutes. It's much smaller than the back lot, but it is where we keep most of our 36 sound stages, these massive soundproof warehouses that we build our sets inside of. In fact, as we round this first corner here, be sure to take a look off to your left-hand side. You'll see Soundstage 12. This was built almost 100 years ago in 1929. Since then, it's been the filming location for everything you're now seeing on your screen, from Frankenstein's lab, Dracula's castle, Tony Montana's mansion in Scarface. You see also Back to the Future, the Visitor Center in Jurassic Park, one of the most historic spots on the studio, and such a large soundstage, able to build this outdoor resort inside of that soundstage right there. It's pretty much what they all look like once you clear the set out of them, and Universal constantly filming new commercials, music videos, TV shows, and movies in every single one. Well, Universal Studios, it's a part of NBC Universal, one of the world's leading entertainment companies, which includes Universal Pictures, Focus Features, Peacock, and NBC Television. This year, NBC is celebrating its 100th anniversary. From trailblazing radio and television to launching The Today Show, The Voice, Saturday Night Live, The Office, The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, and every below show in between, NBC has been the home of entertainment, news, and sports for an entire century. So we'll be celebrating that all year long. But as we make our way about at the halfway mark here of the front lot, I want to point out one more soundstage, 14 off to our left-hand side. This is kind of one of the big movie sound stages. In fact, if you were standing in here about 33 years ago, you'd be standing inside of Mission Control Center in Ron Howard's film Apollo 13. I rewatched it recently. It's an incredible film, but you know the scene where Tom Hanks says the famous line, "Houston, we have a problem"? He's talking to the exact recreation of NASA's Mission Control Center they had built in there. But this year before Apollo 13 built Mission Control Center in there, Steven Spielberg built some of the jungles for Jurassic Park. In fact, a lot of those jungle sets you see in the movie were built in sound stages spread across the studio, specifically in here, the scene where the Jeep comes crashing down through the tree branches after the T-Rex attack, filmed entirely inside of there with some stunt guys going down the tree in place of Dr. Grant and Timmy, as you saw in the movie. But you hear these grand sets, right? Jurassic Park, Mission Control Center. We don't always have to go that big. Sometimes we can simplify it a bit and just build a few office sets like we did recently and actually are doing right now just up the road here for the paper.
Hi, Studio Tour.
We're here on the lot where we film the paper, which follows our characters' day-to-day lives as employees of a struggling newspaper, the Toledo Truth-Teller.
That's right. Unlike many other TV shows, the paper uses multiple cameras and a variety of shot types and movements to give our show a true documentary feel.
Because the camera is always around whenever we're on the set, it's important that we stay in character.
Yeah, Oscar, what's your favorite part of working on the role?
I wasn't expecting you to ask me that question. You know what? I love being around talented, wonderful, hilarious people. I also get to work with Chelsea Fry. How about you, Chelsea? What's your favorite?
Oh, I love waving to the trams.
Oh. Okay. You can probably stop waving now.
No, it's fine. Let's try.
Yeah?
Let's try. It's great.
That's right. Season 1 of the paper streaming on Peacock, filming Season 2 here on the lot now. Last year, they were all set up here in sound stages 18 and 19 off to our right-hand side. In fact, right before Season 1 of the paper moved in here last year, Seth MacFarlane was filming the last few episodes for Season 2 of Ted inside of here, his comedy series that filmed all over the studio, as we'll talk about today, and starred this guy coming up off to our left-hand side. But Ted, he's here to welcome us to the final portion of our front lot. These gray buildings behind them are some of the busiest buildings on the studio. These are production offices for some of the biggest names in Hollywood, from actors, writers, producers, directors, even a very special animation company, Illumination Entertainment, who at the beginning of this month released the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Hi, Studio Tour. I'm Charlie Day.
I'm Chris Pratt. Here's a look at our new film, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, only in theaters April 1st.
That's right. In addition to Illumination, we have Academy Award nominated producer Mark Platt back here, nominated for Best Picture for both La La Land and Wicked, and probably most historic of them all, coming up off to our left, 5195 with a white awning here, former office of Alfred Hitchcock, legendary filmmaker who we're going to be returning to later on today when we visit the Bates Motel on the back lot. But as we close out the front lot entirely, off to our left, Soundstage 25. You see it says St. Denis Medical right there. Well, that's our medical comedy series. It stars David Allen Greer, Wendy McClellan-Covey, and Allison Tolman. And coming up off to our left-hand side, you'll see on these double glass doors, it says St. Denis Medical. They actually use this whole area to create this hospital that you see in the show.
Welcome to St. Denis Medical Center.
St. Denis Regional Medical.
I have access to some really good stuff, and I will hook you up.
Yeah.
No, man. That was a test.
That's right. Seasons 1 and 2 streaming on Peacock. And now, a great cast, great show. That entire hospital, at least the first floor of it, built just behind these walls off to our left-hand side. But folks, this is also where we cross the imaginary boundary, leaving the front lot behind and beginning our journey through the historic Universal backlot. First up, a visit to our Metropolitan sets, the city sets used by some of the biggest productions in the world. That's New York Street, one of the most popular filming locations across Hollywood, and we'll be heading down there in a moment. But I do want to start a little smaller with Brownstone Street. Off to our right, made so recognizable by this line of stoops leading up to the apartment doors. You can get a great look at it actually in this clip from Bruce Almighty starring Jim Carrey.
Brace the dog!
So check this out. Same steps Jim Carrey's running down. Same ones, just off to our right-hand side.
Oh, you're done now.
Beautiful. That's right. It was also featured in a scene in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, starring Macaulay Culkin, where Kevin throws bricks from the roof down at the bandits Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. But from one of our more residential sets to one of our more iconic. Welcome everybody to Courthouse Square, or as you may recognize it, Hill Valley from Back to the Future. Back to the Future hit theaters July 3rd, 1985, starring Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. And if you look off to our left, you might notice the clock tower looks a little different than it does on your screens, right? That's because after the massive success of Back to the Future in the summer of '85, TV shows and movies didn't really want to film back here anymore because it was just too recognizable. So instead of tearing down that recognizable clock tower with the 4 columns and the clock itself, they just covered it up with a facade or a false front. That City Hall structure off to our left appears to be made out of stone and brick. In reality, plaster, wood, and fiberglass. And if you were to walk through those double doors, you'd be standing right in the middle of those 2 columns. But leaving this facade up allows us to shoot all different kinds of productions back here. Just last year, turning this into a 90s Boston high school for season 2 of Ted. But as we leave behind one of our more legendary locations, welcome now to the heart of our city sets. I mentioned it briefly, so I'll let Jimmy take it from here.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there by an old woman. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here. Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal Universal out.
That's right, we call it New York Street, but are by no means limited to New York City. The set's specifically designed to become any city across the world. It appeared as Los Angeles in the climactic sequence of Transformers. It was Chicago in the 1980 comedy classic The Blues Brothers. Even more recently, turning it into a very noir-themed New York City for the new Nicolas Cage television series Spider Noir. It's going to come out on Amazon Prime. So you can see we can create really any environment we need to back here, and a big reason for that are actually these empty sidewalks on either side of us. This allows production designers to come in here and custom create whatever they need to. Great example of this and why we do this is actually mostly to change time period, creating a beautiful 1940s Brooklyn back here. And Disney was shooting Captain America: The First Avenger, and now iconic scene with a barefoot Chris Evans running down the streets of Brooklyn, shot right back here. But then just a few years later, we had Andy Samberg running down these streets in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, his comedy series. Same city, separated by over 70 years. It's a production designer's job to make sure all of that has been captured. Now, we're not going to spend too much longer in here, so I do want to highlight just one other big reason TV shows and movies like to film in here, and it's the freedom to do some incredible stunt work. We're actually doing stunt work back here all the time, from car chase sequences in Fast and Furious films to several different web-swinging sequences in Spider-Man movies, specifically The Amazing Spider-Man starring Andrew Garfield. But I want to point this out from the Blues Brothers. What you're about to see actually shot right here on New York Street.
When the Pinto fell and you saw it land and make this big hole in the street, that was on the back lot. We dropped it from a crane. You dig like that in Chicago, not a good idea.
That's right. So able to kind of creatively destroy these streets in a way that you just couldn't do when filming on location in Chicago, New York. You have a little more time here to kind of reset the area once you're done filming. Now, I will leave it just one more thing. Like the Blues Brothers, a lot of 20th century classics shot back here. It's been one of the most popular filming locations dating back over 70 years. You see, we used to have this above-ground railway. In fact, if you look on the top of the screens here for the movie Streets of Fire, film that took place entirely at night, the way they wanted to capture night was actually covering the Metropolitan sets in a tarp, plunging it into darkness. This way, they didn't have to do night shoots. They could film during the day and have these incredibly convincing night shots with the sun high in the sky. You go back about 20 years from there, Greg Peck in To Kill a Mockingbird, Paul Newman in Hitchcock's Torn Curtain.
Nice place, huh?
There's Elvis back in 1969, A Change of Habit. And after Robert Redford here, I'll show you this. Jim Carrey walking through New York Street and winding up in Courthouse Square with the original clock tower revealed for this scene. But folks, with that, we're going to get ready to say goodbye to our Metropolitan sets. Not entirely for the tour. Some of you will see in front of us we have a tram that's going to go through London Square now. So we will see one more area here in our Metro sets in just a moment. So just a quick detour from the concrete jungles of New York Street. We are making our way now to the jungles of Skull Island.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up in adventure. And to me, Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island. And it's great to have you along for the ride. We're about to return to Skull Island.
That's right, and we'll be heading in just a moment or two. So first, please remain seated, keeping those arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. Feel free to take pictures and videos. Just make sure any flash photography is turned off. Lastly, and most importantly, hold on tight to all of your personal belongings. It is going to be a very bumpy ride in here. If you have any on the floor of the tram or sitting next to you, just make sure those are either in your laps or you're holding on tight to those. Now, we are just a few seconds away. I do want to show you something really cool before we head in. Now, most of King Kong, Peter Jackson's King Kong, the movie itself, is filmed in New Zealand, as Peter Jackson is a New Zealand native, but some of these shots filmed at Universal, actually in a body of water we'll pass by today, using miniatures, miniature versions of these effects they're capturing on the screen. You get all of the scale right. You have the camera pointing at them in just the right way, and it looks like full-scale ships, as you see on your screens right there, when in reality, not that large. And again, I'll point that out in just a moment once we leave. For now, sit back and relax as we make our way in.
Fuck. Nobody's lived here for hundreds of years. The hundredth boy. Right there, baby.
Everybody give it up for King Kong 360. And that epic battle you all just experienced was designed by Peter Jackson and his team at Weta FX. Computer-generated imagery, or CGI, and digital effects have been important tools in movie making for many years that have helped build the worlds and some of your favorite Universal Pictures, from sci-fi to fantasy to action films and more. That's right, but as we escape the jungles of Skull Island, I mentioned to you all that we are going to make our way through one last portion of our Metropolitan sets, right? So we saw Brownstone Courthouse and New York. Well, our next stop today is London Square. And very similar to New York Street, we are very easily able to create different cities back here, though we do have a few kind of London-specific areas. Specifically, these buildings often turned into Parliament that we'll see in a moment off to our left-hand side. But just last year, this was turned into San Francisco in Ted Danson's series on Netflix, A Man on the Inside. We had Gene Smart walking through here a couple years ago in our Emmy Award-winning comedy series, Hacks. But I want to also point out this big painted wall off to our right-hand side. Now, this actually serves two purposes. The first is there are hooks at the top of this wall. You can actually hook large green screens from. This allows filmmakers, if they're filming on New York Street, to digitally create an extended city going off in the distance. But how it's most often used is what you're seeing on your screens right now. There's an illusion painted into this building that if you create a little distance between it and the camera, it starts to come to life a little bit, like you see in the middle of your frame, and helps to create this nice contained metropolitan area. And you know, funny enough, we're actually going to move from one big painted wall to another, as coming up off to our right hand side is our monster mural. This incredible art piece was brought to life back in 2019, and it was actually entirely designed and spray painted by one person, LA-based artist Tristan Eaton. An incredible homage to perhaps the most important genre of films to Universal, and a genre that we're going to return to here in just one moment. Before we do, let's come back to the monsters briefly. Is off to our left-hand side, this is the Hollywood Ocean. Now, first of all, I want to point out, this is the same body of water where they filmed those miniature shots out for King Kong that we watched before we headed in there. But 72 years ago, this was also the Black Lagoon, and creature from the Black Lagoon, featuring its most iconic inhabitant, the one and only Gill Man, one of our many monsters from one of our many classic monster movies. And every single one of these monster movies filmed right here on the studio, from the sound stages to the Hollywood Ocean to a set that we're about to drive right next to. Now, we're not going to drive in here. This is Little Europe. Now, these European sets, they're some of the most historic sets on the lot. We're the home of the monster movies from 1923 all the way to the mid-20th century. But Little Europe right now is also the setting for the ultimate mystery mashup. Don't miss Scooby-Doo and the Universal Monsters, a live-action episode that comes to life at Universal Fan Fest nights. Join Scooby and the gang, explore the backlot, interact with the mayhem, and help solve the chaotic chaos only at Universal Fan Fest nights, select nights, from April 23rd to May 16th. And here's a look at the inside of Europe.
What is Shaggy's catchphrase?
It's Zoinks!
There they are!
The Mystery Machine. Universal Fan Fest nights at Universal Studios Hollywood.
That's right. So instead of taking you into another one of our exterior sets like Europe or our metropolitan areas, we're going to take you now to the exact opposite. Welcome to Soundstage 50, everybody. Please remain seated with those arms and legs inside the vehicle as we make a quick stop in here. Now, you look around us, you don't see an empty warehouse like we talked about with Soundstage 12, right? This is an underground subway station. Currently, it's dressed up as San Francisco. You can tell by the maps and signs you see on the walls around us. But here's the funny thing about it. Okay, a little trimmer. We get those in California. Nothing to worry about. Okay. All right, stay seated, everybody. It's going to be okay. Getting out of here. And congratulations, everybody. You just survived the earthquake, the big one. Give it up for yourself. This attraction opened up 37 years ago in 1989. Not only has it been our beloved earthquake attraction all this time, but it really is a fully functioning soundstage. Productions will film in from time to time. And as we make our way out, I want to let you know that we are at the halfway mark of the tour. Another reminder to remain seated, keeping those arms and legs inside the vehicle. Again, if you need my assistance, that cord is just above your heads. Pull that. I'll come back to assist you as soon as it is safe to do so. But folks, now we're here at the halfway mark, and looking back, it's been a little stressful, right? From Skull Island to an earthquake, I think we've earned ourselves a little break. If you'd all please sit back and relax as we take a nice afternoon trip to the beach. More specifically to Amity Island. Some of you may be feeling a little concerned right now about reports of a man eating a shark. Well, unfortunately, those reports are all true. The good news, though, is we caught that shark. You see it hanging up by the dock. Didn't stop there, though. We've also hired a diver. His name is George, and he's patrolling the harbor right now, making sure that it's safe for us. That's a fin. Oh boy, that's a shark. And George is still in the water. Hold on, everybody. Sorry. George, can you come up out of the water, please? We did not get the right shark. You probably want to hop in the boat now if you can. George? George! Oh, okay, that's awful. I'm really sorry about that, everybody. We do have a backup plan, not to worry. That yellow barrel in the harbor, we've attached some bait to the bottom of that. With any luck, the shark is going to chomp down on it, get caught, and oh no, he's ripped the pier out of its foundation. Gasoline spraying everywhere. Hold on, folks. You all just met Bruce. Everyone say bye, Bruce. Bye, Bruce. Bruce is our very own mechanical shark on the lot, named after Spielberg's mechanical shark. Though ours works quite a bit better than his did, and on the very first day of filming for Jaws, their shark sank to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. It kicked off one of the most troubled productions in movie history, but it worked out in the end. Jaws very quickly became the biggest hit of all time after its June 20th release of 1975. Such a big hit, this attraction opened up the next summer, which actually means it's going to be turning 50. Actually, I'm so sorry. It turned 50 last week. This attraction now officially 50 years old, which what's funny about that, it's not even the oldest attraction on the tour. That spot is actually held by our next stop this afternoon. Please remain seated as we venture down to Old Mexico. Old Mexico opened up in 1968. Since then, it's been a fairly popular filming location. Movies like Nacho Libre, TV shows like HBO's Westworld, but today we are visiting for a weather demonstration. It's going to begin with some thunder and lightning. Normally, thunder brought to life digitally using sound effects. Today, creating it practically or in real life. But something we always create practically on set is coming up off to our left right now. Rain, brought to life using an incredibly complex system of mechanisms called sprinklers. And the beautiful thing about sprinklers is, one, you can control where the water falls, but two, these droplets are actually much larger than rain that falls from the sky, so that the camera has an easier time seeing them. But it's funny, because of the larger droplet size, it creates a flooding hazard for us, so I do have to turn it off. Let me just hit this button here. Sorry, I should have turned off my button. That doesn't seem to be responding. And I think I hear some rumbling. Yeah, hold on, everybody. That's a flash flood. Thousands of gallons of recycled water draining under the bridge into a pump and then getting sucked back up to the top of the hill, only to be released again and again. You can actually see it in action in the movie Big Fat Liar, starring Paul Giamatti. And just like Paul Giamatti's stunt double, we have been swept out of Old Mexico and into the Old West. Welcome to 6 Points. Now, 6 Points is the oldest set on the Universal lot. The bones of this area built all the way back in 1915. Since then, this has been the filming location for countless silent films, many iconic westerns, More recently, an Academy Award-winning film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, starred Leonardo DiCaprio and the great Margot Robbie. And normally when productions film in here, looks a little more like this. We'll bring in truckloads of dirt to cover the road in and complete that Western aesthetic. Takes about a day and a half to do, but it's an incredible final result. More recently doing this for movies like Call of the Wild, starring Harrison Ford, and Maxine, Ty West film starring Mia Goth. But you know, even the name 6 Points dates back to the silent film era. At that time, they could literally film 6 movies at once out here. Since you didn't have to worry about sound, everywhere the camera was pointing could be its own movie. This is a huge part of the reason Universal can say they've made almost 8,000 films because of 6 Points and the silent film era. But as we begin to mosey on out of this bit of Hollywood history, we're actually going to make a big U-turn. We're going to circle on out of 6 Points, and we're going to drive back past Amity Island one more time as we head to our next stop. But since we are getting this last look at Amity, and since it did turn 50 last week, I'd like to welcome in the guy behind it all, Academy Award-winning filmmaker Steven Spielberg, to tell us a little bit about the design process.
The Jaws ride was almost the inevitable result of the size of the box office when Jaws first opened in June of 1975. And that was really the first time I ever got involved in the creation of a ride. It was a great honor to be invited into a creative circle of tremendous designers at Universal that were trying to figure out how to replicate what the movie had done to audiences in a real way by building a physical shark that would come out of the water and terrify tourists as they were sitting in the tram. And the most amazing thing about the Jaws ride is it is exactly as it was from the time it was first placed on the Universal lot. There have been tweaks, of course, over the years, but it is essentially what the designers and myself all envisioned and created. I'm done bashing the shark. Thank you, Jaws, for everything you've done for me. But I will say, consistently, the shark did work much better on the tour than it did in the Atlantic Ocean in 1974.
That's right, and this attraction turning 50 last week, such a testament to the legendary career Steven Spielberg has had as he is still making movies. Again, disclosure date coming out June 12th. But folks, as we leave behind the dangers of Amity Island for the last time on our tour today, we get to take our first true break in a minute, and that is with a quick trip to our comfy, cozy country house off to our right-hand side. That's the Chicken Ranch. Chicken Ranch built back in the early 1980s. When it was built like a doll's house with hinges constructed into the side of it, which allowed it to be opened up in the middle with heavy machinery to get interior filming done a bit easier. All made for this Dolly Parton movie musical, though has been used plenty since. But from the Chicken Ranch, I want to point something out really quick. You'll notice this line of 3 suburban houses off to our left-hand side. Well, this is at the very top of Colonial Street. You'll see it on your screens. It's one of our suburban neighborhood sets on in the studio. Right now, actually, we're all set up for an episode of The Paper down there as they get ready to shoot that one. But I do want to show you what Colonial is probably most well known for right now. All 8 episodes now streaming on Peacock, The Burbs.
Welcome to Ashfield Place, the safest town in America. So, what's the deal with that Victorian house? There have been whispers of murder. Which one of us is the murderer? So are we gonna go in?
Do white ladies love salads? Hell yeah, we're going in.
That's right. All 8 episodes now streaming. Great show. Now I want to let you know we're about 10 minutes till the end of the tour. Final reminder to remain seated, arms and legs inside the vehicle. If you need my assistance, red cord is just above your heads. And now, folks, in our last 10 minutes, let's kick it off with some picture cars. Any vehicle that appears on screen in a television show, movie, commercial, or music video. There's a glamour tram from 1964 off to our left, the flying Ford Anglia from Harry Potter, the Chamber of Secrets as well. Over to our right, we have Tom Selleck's Ferrari from Magnum P.I., Biff's convertible, and 3 more futuristic models from Back to the Future Part 2. Some prehistoric models off to our left from the live-action Flintstones. 3 from the Fast and Furious saga. You might have seen 2 others next to the roller coaster in the park. And 2 Transformers, Bumblebee and Barricade. Some of you may know that Barricade is a Decepticon, right? Well, something as sinister as a Decepticon leads us wonderfully to our next stop. Welcome to the Bates Motel. This picture car around the corner was driven in the film Psycho by the legendary actor on your screen, Janet Leigh. She played Marion Crane, took this car to the Bates Motel before checking in to room 1, that closed door next to the open office door off to our right-hand side. Whoa, okay, that's Norman Bates. Sorry, it's not that I'm surprised to see Norman, I don't know what he's doing in Marion's room. She's very clearly here right now, so... I'm going to talk to Lucas. They did tell us to alert tour security if we saw any suspicious activity coming from Norman, so just give me a quick... Oh, wow. Okay. If y'all could please take some pictures and videos of this, we're going to use that as evidence when we head back to the park. I'm going to turn off my microphone now, I think, so he doesn't hear me talking. Okay. Hey, nothing to worry about? No, we didn't see anything, so we're just going to get out of here if that's okay with... That's a big knife. All right, arms and legs inside the vehicle, everybody. It's okay. Norman? Oh, boy, that's scary. Sorry about that, Cart 4. Hi, Norman. Oh, from... Norman and the motel to the original Bates residence off to our left-hand side. This is the house that was used in the filming of Psycho, directed, of course, by Alfred Hitchcock, starring Anthony Perkins as Norman himself. But from one of our more infamous sets to one of our more spectacular, this is the plane crash set from Steven Spielberg's 2005 sci-fi thriller, War of the Worlds. This film starred Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning, and this is a real airplane. It flew commercially throughout the 1970s before being happily retired to an airplane graveyard. This is where the production team picked it up from, destroyed it, and shipped it to this spot for filming in 2004.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around a vision that Steven had.
When you first began to sit down to talk about the War of the World, I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Keep your eyes on me. Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Now I'm closed. Robbie, get in. Get in.
And now we are going to head directly from the set of this sci-fi thriller into the set of another. Our next and last stop on the tour today is Jupiter's Claim, an incredible set piece featured in Nope, the most recent masterpiece brought to life by Oscar-winning filmmaker Jordan Peele.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible notion and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Juke Park. Over there, look into the winking well and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Sheriff. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? What? A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy of a gold rush frontier town lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of the UFO hotspot. What's about a miracle? You're going to find out. Welcome to the world of no.
are going to take his advice and head on out of here. If you'd like an answer to this mystery, be sure to check out Nope, marvelous film streaming digitally. You can also find it on Blu-ray. Now, as we make our way out of what was our last stop today, I do want to kind of circle back here for just a moment. Jordan Peele, he's many times stated how deeply inspired by Steven Spielberg specifically he was, specifically actually by Jaws when he made Nope. And Steven Spielberg, since he does have another movie coming out this summer, I want to have one of our final moments be with him talking about his first experience on a movie studio.
My entire career began with my relationship with Universal Studios just as a high school kid on a tour bus. Remember, in those days there weren't trams, there were buses called the Gray Line Tour Bus. And I was so excited and thrilled to be on the lot. This is my first time ever on a movie studio lot. And during a bathroom break, I hid in the bathroom, and when everybody left to get back on the bus, I waited another 15 minutes until I'm sure the bus left, and then I had the entire lot to myself that day. And in those days, movie lots were so crowded because all movies were made on film lots. Today they're made all over the world, on locations, but most of it was focused in those days, in the 60s, on the film lots. So nobody noticed me when I was going around from soundstage to soundstage, and I really felt, in my own young way, I owned the lot and had the most amazing day of my life.
That's right. About 10 years later, he'd be 27 years old directing Jaws, and about 60 years later, you cannot take the studio tour without talking about Steven Spielberg. But folks, with that, we are going to begin to wrap up here on the tour. So first, I want to say thanks so much for joining with us today. It was a pleasure having you all on board, and as you head back into the park, be sure to download the Universal Studios Hollywood app. It's completely free, keeps you up to the minute on showtimes, wait times, and when the park closes. Be sure to catch Waterworld today. That's our live stunt show located back near the entrance. If you haven't seen it yet, highly recommend checking it out before you go. It's one of the coolest things in the park. Tonight, the park will close before City Walk. City Walk will stay open for a couple hours. If you want to grab some dinner, catch a movie, we have one of the best AMCs in the world out there playing some really great movies right now. Folks, with that, I would love it if you all could please do me a favor and give it up one last time for our driver, Lucas. He took care of us today. He's the very best in the business. We do have a little bit of production traffic right now. Should just be a couple of moments. We're in line to head back to the park, so sit back, relax, plan your next stop. We'll rock and roll for the next few moments. We'll keep the party going here for just a moment or two.
Time to rock and roll. Bring the noise.
What are y'all in here?
Alright guys, listen to some blues riff and B. Watch me for the changes and try and keep up, okay?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. She did not win the number ring. She know how to shake that thing. You know you make me wanna drive.
Alrighty, John Belushi is going to sing us out, folks. we're just moments away from the park. So once we pull back in there, you'll notice a studio directory. It'll be just off to the left-hand side of the tram. You can check current wait times and show times across the park there. I'm also going to hang out over there for a moment or two if you have any questions about the tour or your day. It'd be great to say hi. Just please remain seated until one of our incredible studio tour ambassadors open these gates off to your left-hand side. Once these gates have been fully opened, you are free to stand and exit. Just watch your step when you do. Have a wonderful rest of your day here at Universal Studios Hollywood. Thanks again, everybody. Again, my name is Sam. Pleasure having you all on board, and that's all I got. As they say here in Hollywood, that's a wrap. Sit tight until those gates have been opened up. Off to our left here, you'll see that directory. I'll hang out there for a moment. Make sure you have all your personal belongings with you before you step off, everybody. We'll see you next time.